The subject line of the email was, I'd love to get your opinion.
Okay.
And just get ready for this, okay? He goes, dear family, friends, and colleagues, or I think you could do it like, the person's name.
Sure.
Like you have to do 20 of them. Thanks for reading this email. It's not an easy one for me to send, but it's extremely important to me. So I sincerely appreciate you investing your valuable time reading and hopefully responding to it. This email is going out only to a select group of people. Each of you knows me really well, or you spend a lot of time with me. And I'm hoping you'll give me honest feedback about my strengths and most importantly, my weaknesses, AKA areas of improvement. I feel like for me to grow and improve as a person, I need to get a more accurate picture of how I'm showing up to the people that matter most to me. While I'm always open to feedback, this is very different from actively seeking feedback. And in order to become a person I need to be to create the life and contribute to others in the ways I want, at levels I want, I need your feedback. So all I'm asking is that you take just a few minutes to email me back with what you honestly think are my top 2 or 3 areas of improvement. Wow. Ouch, right? And if it makes you feel better, to also list 2 or 3 of my strengths, I'm sure that'll help me feel better. You can also do that. You're welcome to do both, okay? That's it. Please don't sugarcoat it or hold anything back. I'll not be offended by anything that you share. In fact, the more brutally honest you are, the more leverage it'll give me to make positive changes in my life. Thank you again. If there's anything else I can do to add value to your life, please let me know with gratitude. Isn't that crazy, man?
It's amazing. Welcome to the Everyday Disciple podcast, where you'll learn how to live with greater intentionality and an integrated faith that naturally fits into every area of life. In other words, discipleship as a lifestyle. This is the stuff your parents, pastors, and seminary professors probably forgot to tell you. And now, here's your host, Caesar Kalinowski.
Superpowers.
If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
Great question. I think it would... invisible.
Yeah, that'd be a cool one.
That'd be a good one. If I could just be everywhere and sit in a room and no one knows it.
Yeah.
I think also if you're invisible, you could probably like rob lots of stuff.
I've thought that.
Or be in a room and get some information, then later go betting at the Trek. I don't know. I just saw the new Oceans movie, so I'm like a criminal all of a sudden in my mind. I'm like, I should be way more spiritual.
I feel like time travel would be cool, and I also feel like,
is that a superpower? Or is that a science?
I just kind of made that one up.
I like it.
And then I felt like having like perfect depth perception would be kind of a cool thing. You knew exactly how far stuff was.
Yes, I'm wearing glasses. So what was your favorite superhero growing up?
So to be honest, that was never a world I was in. I've never seen.
You don't have like a. Say for me it was several, but like I would have to say like premier Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like I just in my mind I was like, I'm Spider-Man. And I wish I could climb things and shoot the webs and all that. And it's too amazing. And when and I have all my old Spider-Man comic books from when I was a kid. Don't ask me how I saved them.
That's amazing.
They're all in boards and plastic. And some of them are in primo shape and some of them are like all rolled up in my back pocket riding my Stingray around the neighborhood.
Sure.
But I have them all in boxes. Probably worth a lot of money, actually.
Oh, I'm sure.
And when they finally started making Spider-Man movies, I was like, chuffed because it's there. Yep.
Yeah. No, I wish I would have gotten into that world. Our friend William Turbyfill is always on me because he's like, have you seen this new movie? Or
he's Mr. Superhero.
I fell asleep during the Avengers in the theater. Like, that is embarrassing.
Oh, you got to repent.
I know, man.
Super
it's my idol.
that.
Yeah. Or might be an idol in our life.
All right, well, we're going to get into all that today. We're going to help people figure out what their superpower is because everybody has awesomeness in their life and skills and things they do amazingly. But they also have stuff that can take them out of the game. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about all that. Yeah.
Well, let's jump in first with the review that we appreciate from this week. Garage Church says that this podcast...
I'm looking at this note. I thought it said Garbage Church. Sorry.
I thought the same thing initially. No, Garage Church.
No offense to Garage Church, but I have a friend that started a church called Dope Church. So I thought, well, maybe there's a it's Garage. Sorry. Oops.
Garage Church says this podcast is extremely relevant and practical. The topics are always interesting. The presentation is done in a fun and engaging way. So thanks, Garage Church.
Boom, pow.
Love that.
Get some of those sound effects today and add that in.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked a little bit about what superheroes we loved and wanted to be as kids. I didn't have any. You were Spider-Man.
You got to work on one.
I know. I need to.
They're all sort of like types of Christ, by the way. No, that's people would tell you that. It's sort of.
My superhero is Jesus.
Yeah.
But in real life, we do all have our superpowers, the things that we're really, really good at.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have things that are kind of like our kryptonite and can take us out of ministry or open us up to peril in life.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So that's true. And I think that maybe, even especially as Christians, we don't like to talk about the things we're good at, you know? But I think that everybody is. I think that we're all born with gifts. I think that we're good at stuff. People work hard to, grow in skill. I wasn't born a guitar player, but I became a very good one.
Sure.
Not so much anymore because I lost that superpower. But everybody's got things that they're really, really good at in life. At least a handful. And I hope anybody listening, if you feel like, no, there's nothing I'm that good at, I bet there is. I really do. But we don't often identify them so that we know that, like, that's how I'm going to use my gift within community or within my family. Or it's okay to acknowledge that, like, maybe, hey, Heath, you're better at that than me. And so, what's going to be a blessing to the family and all of our friends and community is you doing that.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to, like, learn from that and get blessed by it. It's like my wife, one of her superpowers, hospitality.
She's a rock star.
Right?
Yeah.
Superpower. Like,
Absolutely.
It's beyond. But she's actually learned it and worked hard at it. So it's good knowing that. And it's not a foul thing or it's not a prideful thing to say, Tina, superpower. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And she knows it, right? Now, she's not out touting it and running, Facebook ads to tell everybody
Apart
how
from
awesome.
that tattoo. Yeah.
So
That's
anyway,
good.
but what we don't often do either is we don't like to think about the other thing. What's your kryptonite? In other words, like, for those who are like you, Heath, unfortunately, who did not grow up paying any attention to the important things like superheroes, kryptonite is a space rock
Okay.
that has some sort of, I don't know, magnetism or weird a power of its own as a rock. And when Superman comes near it, it takes all his superpowers away. So he's like normal, apparently even weaker. And so that's his thing. He can do anything perfectly unless there's this rock, in his life. So we also have not only our superpowers, but we have these things in our life. And many people are not self-aware enough to get after them and figure out what are those things in life that could take me out. Like, they could take me out of ministry.
Yep.
They could ruin my marriage. They could ruin this relationship. They could ruin my job.
Sure.
My character, right? So I want to talk about both those. I want to talk about, how do we identify, hey, what's your superpower? What's that stuff you're really good at in life? And you get to be, like, stoked and thankful for that. And then what's the stuff that might be able to take you out?
Okay.
Okay.
So how do we begin, as we start this challenge, how do we begin to identify the things in our life that we are really good at?
Well, I think that many of us have a sense of the 2 or 3 things that we maybe can do well in life. Okay? Like, you're a very good musician and singer and songwriter. And you're aware of that, right? I mean, you do it for a living, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of, like, is there someone better or whatever. You probably name 10 guys that you think are better. It's not the point.
Sure.
That's one of your superpowers. You're good at it. You can do it. You don't have to think about it. You're not stressing about it. You're very good
Naturally
at it.
good at it.
Yeah. Okay? One of my superpowers is I notice everything.
Yeah.
I notice everything. I can't not. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's space on a line. There's an extra space there. Something in the room.
Detail.
Yeah. It's just it's one of my superpowers. Okay. I think everybody's got a few things. Okay. Sure. Now they've either come naturally, like my son-in-law Daniel, natural athlete.
Yeah.
It's one of his superpowers. Pitch a round object, i.e. a ball, towards him and have any type of a bat-like item in his hand. It's gone. Like, it's nuts. Doesn't matter how fast it's coming in or big or small. Okay, it's a superpower.
Talented guy.
So it's natural. Other things we're good at that we've put time and invested in. So people are like, no, I wasn't good at this, but I went to school for it. I got lessons, or I've just worked at it, and I have that skill and ability now. So that's one thing. I think some people have a sense of that. What is that in your life? Do you think about using it for yourself, or do you think about using it for others? Or, well, I don't know. I do it at work. I get paid for it. Would you do it for free?
Yeah.
Because it's a superpower. You're like, you're really good at it. You don't have to think about it or muster it up. What do people consistently tell you that you're really good at? Like, do you have anything like that in your life? People have pointed that out.
Yeah.
Some people will think, this is kind of a shame, like, well, when I was younger, people say I was always really good at that, but then I just got this for my job, and now that's all I really do is my job. And it's like, maybe that's an idol.
Yeah.
Probably go back to episode 173 and listen in on
Yeah.
how to identify idols, right? But maybe, now there's a really good tool out there, and I'm going to guess that many of our listeners may have heard of it, unless it's connected to Superman or superheroes like you and you want an idea what I'm talking about. But it's this thing called StrengthsFinder.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? Okay.
Super helpful in my own life.
Yeah. I think they recently changed the name to Clifton Strengths. That's kind of weird. I think I had a better title before. But it's an awesome tool, and it's actually part of Gallup research, and it's been used by over 18 million people. that they claim, and I think it's true. Like
I would
is
assume so.
super popular. Okay.
Yeah, I've taken all those tests, and that one for me was one that just nailed it. It was so helpful for me.
Yeah, it is amazing. So they, on their own site, it says that, millions of people around the world have completed this assessment, and they discover what they naturally do best. See, naturally. So it's like it's built into you. It's a power.
Sure.
They learn how to develop their greatest talents, and they use this assessment to help them find it. So there's a StrengthsFinder 2.0 out now, and it's a powerful thing. I did the StrengthsFinder thing years ago.
Yep.
Okay. And I found it, like you, very, very helpful. And what it is this guy, and I think this is why they changed the name to Clifton Strengths or something like that. In the early 50s, this guy, Donald O. Clifton, who would go on to be named the father of strengths psychology.
Wow.
Cool. That's his superpower. That he noticed a major problem, that the field of psychology and personality assessments and all that stuff was based almost entirely on the study of what's wrong with people.
Yep.
Like do to be, right?
Sure.
And he wondered if it'd be more important to study what's right about people. And so he began to study this and all that. And so you can actually do this assessment. There again, this is Gallup, and they've put this stuff together on 18 million people, and it's deep, if you've done it, right?
Sure.
And they kind of, they assess you over 20 something categories or something like that. But they tell you your top 5. These are your strengths in life. This is what you're strong at. And in an organization, a family is an organization, a church is an organization, a staff, a business, those are all organizations.
Sure.
These are going to be really helpful. You're naturally good at these, and you should continue to grow in these areas.
Yeah,
you'll actually be more valuable and useful.
Yep.
Not like earning God's love kind of value, I'm saying, but
Sure.
to an organization or team or within your family, by focusing on what you're already good at and getting even better at that, and then let people know rather that you are good at. Here's my top 5, just to kind of give people an idea. Communication, number 1.
Okay, that's my number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Here I am doing podcasts. Here you are doing it. So, right now, how far apart these are, they don't tell you. So
Sure.
my top 5: communication, ideation.
Okay.
Okay. So I write books for a living. I was a songwriter for years and years and years. You're right. Ideation, strategic.
That's my number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Activator, pull
Okay.
things. I was a record producer for years and years and years. Create tons of content. Get stuff done. And then input. And input is a strength where you notice everything. All right, I told you that's one of my superpowers. And you kind of catalog it away for later. So when I'm at a restaurant and I go oh, that's a weird way they hung that fabric up there in the, on the ceiling, and they got little twinkle lights behind it. Ding! I put that in the back of my head somewhere. And then later on, someone's doing a church plant or they're doing something in the back room of their house. And they're I don't know what to do. The ceiling's kind of funky. Hey, I saw this thing. And it's all cataloged back there. A billion things though, and it is. It's part of oh, that's why I notice everything.
Yeah.
What are yours?
Okay, so my number 1 strategic, number 2 is belief, number 3 is futuristic, so I'm always thinking towards the future.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Number 4 is communication, and number 5 is empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah, so I've got 1 in each.
I don't care about that.
Wheelhouse. Yeah, one in the wheelhouse. But yeah, it is super helpful.
It's super helpful, and I don't know, it costs a few bucks to do it. You get a book, you buy the book basically, and then it comes with a code, and you can go online and take the thing. So it's awesome. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for everybody. But that's another way to find out, what are you good at?
Yeah.
Okay? And so, yeah.
Yeah, and that's helpful too, because it's not just helpful for your missional community or your job or your family, but you're able to go, hey guys, my number one is strategy. So why don't you let somebody who doesn't have it anywhere near the top 5 or 10 of theirs, don't let them do the job that requires a ton of strategy. Let Heath handle that because that's his gifting. And
it's killing them. Let someone who's got that gift.
Yeah, let me bear that burden. I'll take that because it's my gifting, and let Tina do hospitality. You know what I mean? It really does help knowing what the gifts and strengths of your community are. And
I'll just say this too, is that the more you operate in areas of strength,
and
by the way, these are all from God.
Sure.
Okay. And you can ask him for all good things. And anyway, so grow in those things. But when you operate more and more in the areas of your strength, God-given strengths, and strengths that you recognize and then work on and offer and get to practice and get acknowledged for it and all that stuff, you're actually going to be less stressful, more fulfilled, and again, we're not trying to make these strengths idols in our life, replacing, God alone and all that stuff. But we are all image bearers, and no one of us is perfect and does everything perfectly.
Yeah.
And yet God pours these abilities, and, we're calling them superpowers, that they just have some fun with them,
Yeah.
But he pours them into people, and it's good and it's okay. to know what they are and acknowledge them.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is it's not necessarily. I was raised in a church where you don't focus on your strengths; you're just constantly tweaking your weaknesses, trying to get better.
Yeah, that's that whole behavioral modification that comes out of a false understanding of sin and all. Yeah.
Yeah, so anytime you start to go, hey guys, I'm actually really good at strategy, you go, am I allowed to say that, or is that super prideful? And I think what you're saying is it's not necessarily prideful to be identifying your gifts and the giftings of others and actually talk about that, right?
I don't think it is. I'm not sure if you knew how good I am at. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is prideful. Now, could you take it and get prideful about it? Absolutely. It's like anything else, right?
Yeah.
You totally can. But I was talking to someone recently. It was us at Last Cigar and Theology. We were talking about why when someone is like really good at something, and they tell you, it bugs you. Right?
Yeah, I do remember.
And people are like, yeah, I don't want to hear it from people. It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess if it comes up, but if they keep bringing it up,
yeah.
So we're not saying that like you step on people or you run over people once you identify the things you're good at, or they shouldn't do it because this is. And I've been in those situations too. It's like, dude, this is the guy with the strategy. He's doing it. You're not. Well, that happens to be one of my guests too. But pick one, right? Or this is the guy who she or the gal. She's got this strength. She's the only one ever going to do this again. Well, I want to grow in that area. So like, could I work with her, or whatever, right? So anyway, so no, I don't think it is. And I think there again, God he has all these things and strengths and amazing diversity and abilities and all knowledge and sovereignty and all that. And he's created us in his image. Mm-hmm. And so all these things are still a part of how we show his glory. Do you think God's a strategic God?
Yeah.
You think God has got ideation?
Yeah, absolutely.
He like dreams up the whole planet and then, and speaks it into existence and forms humans with his hands and breathes breath into them and boom, there's their life. And like, oh yeah, all these things, you can completely see the counterparts of that's what God's like.
Yeah.
And so when we submit it to him for his glory, not our own, it's a beautiful thing. And it's an okay thing to notice and acknowledge your superpowers and the superpowers in other people.
It'd be fun to throw Jesus like on a strength finder test and see if it just comes back like, we can't give you the top 5 because they're all just equal. Or if there was like,
that's what we assume, but he was a human.
Yeah, so maybe he had some aspects.
And this isn't sovereignty finder.
I think.
Anyway, and that's not the only way to get at it.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying that's a test, and I know a lot of people
it's
that
helpful.
say that's really,
super
really
helpful.
good.
Yeah.
Other people use enneagrams, and that starts to dip more into personality. That's why I like the strength finders. So anyway,
no, that's great. Let's talk about the kryptonite side of this a little bit. How do we start identifying our kryptonite? And can you start out by defining what that is a little bit more? We talked about space rocks, but
it's not
I don't think you're going there.
Powered rock, yeah. Now let me give you 3 steps that I'd start with. Okay, 2 of them are kind of easier. You got to do them still, and one of them is a little bolder. I won't say harder, but maybe it's harder. Okay. First, start with some honest self-assessment. Okay, like you have to take some time. It's not going to just dawn on you. So to find your kryptonite or those things that, that might take you out or could, like, I want to talk about this with God and people, and I want to eliminate this, like, this kryptonite from my life. Start with some honest self-assessment. Set aside some time. Pray. Ask the Holy Spirit to identify, any areas of your life or your character that you, that he would have you be more aware of and begin to look for any unbelief, right, in who God is and what's true of you behind those things. And then write them down, like whatever the Spirit puts on your heart. And there again, just like I said, I think we have an innate sense of some things that we're kind of good at. Yeah. I think you kind of have a sense of like, you know what, this could take me out.
Yep.
That could take me out.
Sure.
Then this is next. Share all of this with someone close to you. And this is where most people won't do it, because there's pride involved and all. Just like, I don't want to show what I'm good at. I really don't want to share what I could. Trust me, like this, humble yourself. Share it with a spouse, a best friend, or maybe even a parent, right? The parents have known you your whole life. If they're trusted, right? Tell them that you are looking to identify areas of your life and character that may be problematic or hindering how others perceive you or how effective you are at work, or at home, et cetera, right? And that you really want to glorify God in all areas of your life and character so that, their honest feedback on what you heard the Holy Spirit saying, they can either confirm it or add insights to it, be super helpful.
Sure.
I think that most people would be blown away that you'd even ask.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, by the way, there's a big difference between being open to feedback and actively seeking out feedback. I think most people say, I'm open to feedback.
Sure.
I don't receive any of it, but I'm open to hear it.
Yeah, versus
Like,
actively going after it.
I'm seeking it, and you know why I'm seeking it? Because I'm trying to compare and contrast it to what God's saying, what I think he's saying, what I've always, maybe been suspicious of, right? Now, third, and this one's a little harder, and I first heard this from a guy by the name of Hal Elrod. He wrote a book called The Miracle Morning, and it's kind of how to be an early riser, but it's not that. It's really, how do you start your day with intentionality? He's also a man of faith, but it's not a Christian book. But how do you start your day with some intentionality and some exercise and some meditation and just get your day like going and prepared and focused on what, God's got in front of you, And he shares how he started actively seeking feedback by sending his friends and family an email. He sent it out to about 20 or so people, friends, family, colleagues, current and past team members that he'd worked with and stuff. And he asked them for their brutal honesty and feedback about himself. Okay. And here's what he wrote. Okay. Check this out. The subject line of the email was, I'd love to get your opinion.
Okay.
And just get ready for this. Okay. He goes, dear family, friends, and colleagues, or I think you could do it like, the person's name.
Sure.
Like you have to do 20 of them. Thanks for reading this email. It's not an easy one for me to send, but it's extremely important to me. So I sincerely appreciate you investing your valuable time reading and hopefully responding to it. This email is going out only to a select group of people. Each of you knows me really well, or you spend a lot of time with me, and I'm hoping you'll give me honest feedback about my strengths and most importantly, my weaknesses, aka areas of improvement. I feel like for me to grow and improve as a person, I need to get a more accurate picture of how I'm showing up to the people that matter most to me. While I'm always open to feedback, this is very different from actively seeking feedback. And in order to become a person I need to be, to create the life and contribute to others in the ways I want, at levels I want, I need your feedback. So all I'm asking is that you take just a few minutes to email me back with what you honestly think are my top 2 or 3 areas of improvement. Wow. Ouch, right? And if it makes you feel better, to also list 2 or 3 of my strengths, I'm sure that'll help me feel better. You can also do that. You're welcome to do both. Okay. That's it. Please don't sugarcoat it or hold anything back. I'll not be offended by anything that you share. In fact, the more brutally honest you are, the more leverage it'll give me to make positive changes in my life. Thank you again. If there's anything else I can do to add value to your life, please let me know with gratitude. Isn't that crazy, man?
It's amazing. So
he sends this out. And the first one he gets back, like he said, he sends it and he's just waiting, looking at his email box. First one comes back, it's from his mom. And it's just like glowing and glorious, okay? So either after step 2 or 3, so step 2 being, like I shared this, what I came up with some other people, or you send this out and you get some crazy written feedback. The third thing I'd say is document the feedback that you get. Like write it down, like try to categorize it. Or what people are saying, is it kind of all fit over here under this, there's 2 or 3, 4 things or, whatever. And then identify, connected them, actions that you want to take. Pray about it. God, like what's next, Lord, with that? Like people are pointing this out, and you're confirming it in my spirit now.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do then? Okay.
I love that.
What specific actions will you start to take now that you have some new awareness going on? Is there anyone you need to ask for forgiveness? Because you might need to do that too. Like I might just be the thing where someone goes like, okay, this is a pattern, and wow, you know what? You really hurt me with it. Okay, thanks for the brutal honesty, and I want to ask you to forgive me.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
And then kind of, have that around. Like I have this thing called SMART behaviors that a coach taught me years and years ago, and I have it in my calendar that goes off every Wednesday morning. Here's your SMART behaviors, and I review them for 20 years, man, almost 20 years now. And I mean, I could share what they are. It's kind of the same thing. I got this from a coach though, who I spent a lot of time with, and he got feedback from people I worked with and colleagues and my boss who was paying for the coaching and all that. Right. And, I've had this on my calendar, goes off every a certain day of the week, everywhere. It goes, and here they are. Affirm people. Like,
good.
He told me, like, dude, you're moving so smart, and your strength finder is like your strategy boy. You're off the hook with that, but affirm others too, because everybody's got their superpowers, right?
For sure.
Be curious and ask questions of people before moving on to give them your input on everything. Be curious. Just be more curious.
Yeah.
It's going to help people. And there's a whole list. He said, practice open architecture with your ideas. So your ideas might not always be the only ones or the best. Can there be more than one idea?
Sure.
Yeah. So he gave me a list of these, and they were so helpful to me And it was brutal to get to them, and some of them were stinging a little, right?
Yeah.
But I like the Spirit of God and others in my life affirmed, no, those are real, man. Those would be really helpful, because those are areas that could be kryptonite. They could take you out relationally or alienate people from you or whatever.
Sure.
And ultimately, they're not what God's like.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of the same thing. So, maybe you'll do the HAL thing, maybe you're, with the email, maybe you're not. I mean, that's pretty heavy duty, but
It takes some humility, to get there,
it
which
sure
is beautiful.
does. But document the feedback, write it down, identify some actions. And like for me with that one thing, like I said, I wrote them down. They've been on my calendar. They pop up once a week for 18 something like years now, I think.
Wow.
So
You talk about forgiveness. It's one of the things that a few years back I did. I felt really convicted by that show, My Name is Earl, where he tries to go forgive people that he's wronged throughout his life. And so I spent probably a month.
Oh, he's trying to get them to forgive.
Yeah, he's trying to get them to, yeah. And so I spent about a
that
month, like just really consulting with the spirit of people in my life all throughout my history that I knew either I had issues with and hadn't forgiven, or vice versa, that I knew I've made them mad.
Wow, beautiful.
And contacted every single one of them. Like 15 years old, I hunt them down on Facebook and send them a message. They were humbled. Every relationship restored.
And I'm guessing that exercise you were probably led to that, brother, by the Spirit.
Yeah.
To root out some aspect of a piece of kryptonite in your life.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily the specific things.
Yeah.
It was something that exercise, God knew, if you'll be obedient and do this, I'm gonna remove that kryptonite in your life.
And it was beautiful, man. Like,
that's cool.
And then people were so forgiving, and like, of course, I don't even remember the situation.
Yeah, I haven't done the Hal Elrod email thing yet.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like scared to death. I'm just to be honest, I'm scared to death.
Maybe set up like a Google form so you don't know who's saying it, so you can't hold it against.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
I love that.
I know I invite you into this often. I want to do it again. If you're interested in learning a full framework for discipleship or getting into some coaching where you get to be taught gospel fluency, grow in that ability, have someone walk through that with you, help you with all that, just check out the coaching that we offer. If you go over to everydaydisciple.com/coaching, everydaydisciple.com/coaching, there's a bunch more information. There's a little form you can fill out there. You're not committing to anything, but that form will say, hey, I have some questions. I'm interested. And we'll set up a time to hop on a Zoom call and talk about it. I'd love to do that, see if we can get you into some coaching. All right. So as always, we're going to give you the big three takeaways. The big three, hey, don't miss this if nothing else. And they're available to you as a printable PDF. All you have to do is go to everydaydisciple.com/big three. And these are all nicely, beautifully on a page for you, and you can use this to review the podcast or share it with someone else, or maybe just to re-encourage your heart.
Caesar, what are the big three for this week?
Okay, first one, everyone is created with strengths and talents and are given gifts from God. Everybody. I've never met a person that doesn't have something, like many things, right?
Sure.
It's good to be self-aware of these strengths, your superpowers, and also acknowledge that they come from God. And they can be used for His glory, or they could be used for your own. And that's the thing about any of these, things we're good at, or gifts that God's given us, or our quote superpowers. They can be used for God's glory, or they can be used for our own. Identifying what you're good at, your areas of strength, and then working to grow even further and bless even more people. I think that's all part of what it means to be a child of God, and more concerned with His glory. You get to use these things, and you get to grow in them, and you get to bless people with them.
That's great, man. All right, number two.
Second, we all have areas of life and character that contain blind spots and are open to improvement. Okay? Like we've been calling them kryptonite, just for the analogy. But God's desire is that every area of our lives glorify Him, right? So He wants to change the things in our life that do not. But here's some really good news. He already loves us fully, perfectly, regardless. So He doesn't want to leave us there. He wants that out of our lives because He wants us to fully image and glorify Him, but He loves us perfectly anyway. Tim Keller once said, the gospel's this: we're more sinful and flawed in ourselves than we ever dared believe, yet at the very same time, we're more loved and accepted in Jesus Christ than we ever dared hope.
Wow. That's good news, man.
So see, we can kind of let our, redemption show, as we've said before, right?
Sure.
Okay, and third, this is like the hands part of it, the rubber hitting the road part. Get started on some form of a self-assessment today. Do this with your constant advocate and comforter, the Holy Spirit. Okay, don't do it alone. It's not your opinion of yourself, and then you make a lot of excuses. Like, open yourself up to the Spirit of God, who's a comforter. Remember that, and an advocate. He's on your side. Don't fear receiving and actually seeking out feedback from others as well. If they actually knew the whole truth about you, their feedback would even be harder to hear. So they've only seen parts of your life and not your full heart. So document the feedback you get and then identify actions that you can take immediately and over time to begin to eliminate those from your life or improve in those areas. Write these insights and actions down and keep them where you can see them and review them, even daily, right?
Yeah.
Like things you're serious about, review them daily. Make them part of your routine. Make them part of your morning routine or rituals.
I'm just convicted that this is something that I'm going to want to revisit. It's been a few years since I've taken the Strength Finder. Want to retake that because I'm sure things have even changed too based off of the situation I'm in. But I'm feeling compelled to maybe send this email out to a few people and just put it in a place, print it out, and see. I do want to be conformed into the image of Jesus and letting people speak into what that looks like.
Yeah.
They can see stuff that oftentimes they can't.
And I want to encourage you, brother, who I love so much, and everybody listening too. When starting to do the assessment on the kryptonite side of it, don't let that become your focus because that's not your identity. Okay,
It's a good word.
It's not your identity. Those are things that could take you out, or they're things that you've picked up along the way as idols or character issues or whatever.
Sure.
And you're asking the Spirit of God and community to help identify them and move beyond them because you want God to be glorified.
Yeah.
Don't focus on that. Like, remember, this is a both and. This is superpower and kryptonite. And what you do does not equal who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So we get to work on these things and eliminate those things from our life. But that's not your value. That's not your identity.
Yeah. No.
That's a reminder there.
That's a good word, man.
Okay.
So we're going to give people the free download of the big three for this week, as well as a link to the Gallup Strength Finder.
That'll be in the
test.
show notes.
Yep.
It might be on the big three too, but either way, you get it. And check it out if you want.
Yeah. We'd love to serve you in that way. And if you haven't yet given us a review on iTunes, we'd love to just ask you to do that. Just a simple review with a couple
We might
comments.
even read it like we did at the top of the show.
That's
Like,
right.
We'd love to. I'd like to be reading 4 or 5 every time.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like Garage Church got a plug this time. Maybe you will next week. Again, you get the big three takeaways from this week by going to everydaydisciple.com/big three. Thanks for joining us today. For more information on this show and to get loads of free discipleship resources, visit everydaydisciple.com. And remember, you really can live with the spiritual freedom and relational peace that Jesus promised every day.